This is hemming technique number 4, and this is a blind hem finished by hand. So on the right side you don't see any visible stitching, and on the wrong side again you don't really see any visible stitching. You see an overlocked edge, and then if you look inside here you'll see the zigzag stitching. Now I've used a thread colour that you can see, but you could use something that is more matching with your fabric. This technique's ideal for heavier fabrics, for fuller skirts, for things like curtains, but you can really use it as and when you choose. Because the stitches sit slightly inside the hem here, you do sort of run the risk of this hem being brought down. So, you know, if this is the trouser hem that you choose to use, you could catch the hem in your heel. So you need to be aware of that. For this technique I've cut myself a piece of fabric that's 15 centimetres by 10 centimetres, and I'm going to start by turning under the raw edge by 2 centimetres. And just press that hem in place. Then I'm going to overlock this edge before I do my hand stitching, so that it's been edge finished and it won't unravel. So you could use another technique there if you want to instead, so you could pink the edge, or you could turn it twice, but I'm going to overlock. Now that I've overlocked this edge, I need to use a blind hemming hand stitch to secure this edge. I've threaded a needle with some thread. I'm using a contrasting colour so you can see it, and I've tied a knot just in one end and the other end is free to move. Don't cut your thread too long, and aim for a piece of thread that's like from the tip of your finger to your elbow, and that should be sufficient. If you try and cut a longer piece, then you'll end up that it just tangles before you finish sewing. I'm going to start by just leaving the knot under here. And I'm going to fold back the raw edge so that you can see the bottom edge of the overlocking. And I'm going to just stitch into the hem allowance just to secure my stitching. Now the blind hem stitch just sits slightly below the edge of the hem. So I'm going to fold this back, and what you might find is it's easier to fold it all back all the way along before you start sewing. So I'm going to do that. So I'm just going to turn this edge back and pin. All the way along. From where I've come out of the hem allowance here, I'm going to go along about half a centimetre to a centimetre, pick up the threads on the fabric, so making sure that that stitch isn't visible from the right side. Moving along a little bit further and stitching into the hem allowance. And then carrying on all the way along. So taking a couple of threads here, making sure that that isn't going to be seen, and if it is, take your needle out and just go in again. And then go along a bit, go through the hem allowance, then back, taking fabric from garment, picking up a thread, back into the hem allowance, So this method is a bit quicker to sew than the hand slip stitch. Then when you get to the end, just take a few stitches into the hem allowance. And that should secure your threads, and then you can cut your thread. So that's my finished hem technique. So from the wrong side, you don't really see much of the stitches. They sort of sit inside there, just inside the edge of the hem. And from the right side, it's completely invisible. All I need to do to finish my sample is just to edge finish with pinking shears. And then you might want to press the hem again